So I see all these blend names on the menu, but how do I know what to choose for a blend? The name's cool, yeah. Well, today we're going to talk about those different blends and how you put them together. I'm Ted Jones, owner of Riverview Coffee Roasters. I do roast to order coffee subscriptions in the top 1% of the world's supply, roasted and shipped to you ultra fresh at the pace you like. I also teach you everything you need to know to get world-class coffee in the comfort of your own home. So if it's your first time on the channel and you'd like to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Also hit the bell notifications button so you can always be notified when I put up a new post. So we've got blending. How do we pick a blend? Well, I know I like light roast, or I know I like medium roast, I know I like dark roast. Maybe I tried a coffee and I like this certain one. What am I going for? So there's all these different ways you can choose, right? And most of the time what people do is they just buy something that has its description with a couple words that sound enticing to them, which is a good way to start. But when it comes to blending, there's more to it. And also could be more to how you make a choice. So the way I approach blending is what kind of profile I'm going for, how deep of a character I want in it, and such. And what you'll find too, I would say from what I've done, from my customers, from seeing what's available out there, is that when it comes to blends, you're generally going to be more in the medium to dark roast range. When it comes to light roasts, you're expressing more of the character of the coffee. So it's kind of nice to see the uniqueness in each different coffee, and I find that people really prefer to have single origins, which if you didn't know are coffees from one specific place in the world, a specific region, a specific country, broken down even to a specific farm, to specific varietals, to specific plots on the farm, to specific ways they're harvested on certain days, and then processed in specific ways. So you can really break the coffee down more and more as you go, and you can buy regional blends as well. It's just not what I'm into. What I'm into is getting those real exact special lots. So the farm may grow coffee on all these different spots on the farm, but on this one hill they have the best conditions. It's got the best light. They just always get the best fruit from there. And then they'll do what is called day lots, and they'll pick coffee each day, and the days that have the very best fruit that's perfectly ripe those days, they'll separate that. It'll be their ultra premium stuff, and those are the kind of lots I buy. They're called micro lots because they're real small. So then when it comes to the blending, I don't cut corners with the blending. I use these awesome micro lots, and I will blend them in different quantities. Sometimes I'll buy coffees that's just specifically for blending because it's an awesome micro lot that I think will go great in a blend. But other times I will use the same coffees I'll use in my other single origin menu. So you'll see that sometimes on the menu, how there'll be ones that it looks like they may repeat or not, but they'll be expressed differently. So also they'll be roasted differently. When I do them by themselves, they may show really great at a dark, medium, or light roast, but when they're blended, I may be going for something else. And so one I'll talk about is espresso blends, right? That's most commonly for espresso, you're going to see blends. And the classic base to an espresso blend is a Brazilian natural processed coffee. And if you watch my coffee video on the different types of coffee from around the world, that helps you kind of figure out what each country has to offer as far as flavor profiles, you'll see on there that I talk about how they dry that coffee in the fruit. When you dry the coffee in the fruit, it gives it more body, less acidity, perfect for an espresso blend, right? When you think of espresso, you think of something deep. And a big misnomer about espresso is that it's always dark roasted or the darkest roast. I hear different things about it. It has nothing to do with roast level. It's a brewing method. So there's certain coffees that'll just lend themselves well to that brewing method, which is under pressure, finely ground, the flavor coming out of the coffee real fast and an almost syrupy texture to it in small quantities, right? And that's what real espresso is. And you'll see it get bastardized a lot with people that are brewing coffee that don't really know how to use an espresso machine, and they'll brew you this like almost a whole cup of coffee basically that's supposed to be an espresso shot. It came through the espresso machine, but it's not really a good shot, right? But when it comes to making a really good shot of espresso, you're gonna get these different characters in it. And so like the classic most popular blend I can think of offhand for espresso would be Italian Roman style espresso. It's going to be that Brazilian natural base, and it's going to have maybe like that's going to be half the base. Then a third of it's going to be like a Latin American. Like I would love Guatemalan is my fave. Maybe a couple different Latin American ones, depending on how much complexity or different profiles you want to go for. Mainly, there are about 3 coffees. Then that last 20% or 15% is most originally, classically, going to be a Robusta coffee, because Robusta gives a lot of crema, gives a lot of body, gives a little bit of a bitterness in it, gives a depth of character, but it's not as refined a coffee. So in my Roman espresso, which I call the Little Italy espresso blend, I recommend you try it. It's mind popping. I love it. It's a great dual use blend because you can use it to brew regular coffee or espresso. But in mine, I just do Central American and South American Brazilian natural coffee in there. Killer blend. And I have some people that have been ordering that blend every week for 5-6 years now, since I first started doing the coffee biz. Then I came up with a modern style approach to espresso blends, so a natural processed coffee like the Brazilian, but from Ethiopia. Then with that same awesome Central American coffee to back it up and balance it out, which gives it that unique fruit flavor that you wouldn't get from an old school coffee. So it gives it a modern approach, but it still has that body. It still has that depth of character. It still has that classic balance. And that's almost like a chocolate covered fruit. And that one's called my Capitola espresso blend. But you'll see that in other modern roasters that they'll have also something maybe along those lines. The most famous original blend, the first blend of the world, was the Mocha Java. So the Dutch originally got the coffee from Yemen, the port of Al Malka, and they brought it down to Turkey and India on the way to Java, and they tried the plants on different islands. What they found, they took really well on Java, and so those were 2 of their main trading ports. Indonesia was a big spot for the Dutch because they had control of those islands. They could trade the spices and everything from India. They could get the stuff from other Southeast Asian countries, from China, Japan. And then they grew the coffee on Java, and in Mocha in Yemen, they mixed them together, made the Mocha Java blend. So generally it was 2/3 Java, 1/3 Mocha. You could play around with that mix. These days, a modern approach to it is using a Ethiopian coffee and a Sumatran coffee, because some of the very best coffees now are coming out of Ethiopia or Sumatra. They're affordable, yet top-notch in quality. The Mocha coffee is still available, and I'll get it sometimes, but it's definitely more expensive, and it's not all based on the quality of the coffee. It's got a unique complexity, I would say, that's one of a kind. But you'll find in the Middle East, they're willing to pay high dollar and not as discerning about quality from the Yemeni coffees. So because of that, the price on it has gone up. So you can actually get an amazing Ethiopian natural processed coffee done the same way they do in Yemen, which is the same plants that they grow in Yemen, because the plants in Yemen came from Ethiopia. And that's why you'll see that blend will actually be made with Ethiopian and Sumatran, which has actually got some really great production. It's got a little bit more depth of character than the Java coffees. Over time, things evolve, But so the Mocha Java, that's another one. So you're going to get malty, woodsy notes from the Sumatran or the Java and the Indonesian coffees. And you're going to get more fruit and chocolate notes from the Yemeni or Ethiopian coffee in that blend. So it's very unique, complex, special blend, and I've seen it done at a wide range of roasts. I really like it in a medium to medium dark range because I feel like that gives it a little bit more depth. When it's light, it's a little bit more hollow. When it's too dark, anything too dark, you can't really tell what you're getting so much. You're just tasting roast flavor. So then another approach to blends is like a house blend. House blend is going to try to be middle of the road, more balanced, right? So it's not going to try to be super complex or have some weird flavors. It's just going to try to be classic. And that's basically usually going to be taking affordable coffees that are crowd pleasing, putting them together so they're well-rounded. So you might get a little bit of a Indonesian or African coffee in there, but the flavor expressions are going to be a little bit more subdued, and you're going to get more Latin American blends, because Latin American coffees are generally more straightforward. They're more of those nut and chocolate and spice flavors that you expect from coffee, and people that think of classic coffee don't really think of fruit flavors in coffee. So because of that, people that do get fruit flavors in coffee will often say they're not interested in anything like that. They don't think coffee should taste like that. They have a preconceived notion about the way coffee should be, and that's just what they like, and that's great because whatever everybody likes is the right way for it to be, right? But I like variety, and so that's one reason why I roast coffee for people, because I can have all different types. When it comes to house blend, you're gonna go pretty basic, right? That's why we call it house. Another one would be like a dark roast deep blend, right? Which is going to be more coffees that can handle a lot of heat, which can be roasted really deeply. We're going to mix, like, for example, I have one called Vienna Old World, super popular amongst the people that are old schoolers, not really interested in a new profile, but they want a higher level quality of coffee. So I get my top-notch coffees. I'll get a killer Brazilian natural coffee, blend it with a killer Latin American, like an awesome Guatemalan coffee that can really take the heat, that can create that classic flavor, and then bottom end it with something really deep underneath, something Indonesian or Robusta. So at different times I've used the Robusta. It's really like a specialty grade, really top-notch Robusta, which is Robusta and Arabica are the two main species of coffee. Liberica is the third one, which you're pretty much never going to see. But Robusta is the one that's like red canister coffees, like the low grade ones. Arabica is the one that's a more amazing. It's kind of like with chocolate, there's Criollo and Forastero cacao, which most people don't know about. It's the same kind of thing, only a couple percent of the world's coffee is actually the really killer ones. And so, but a really good specialty grade Robusta can add a lot of depth of character to a blend if you put just the right amount. So I will use an awesome Sumatran or Indonesian coffee as that subwoofer note in the Vienna Old World. And then sometimes when I can get a really great Robusta, I've gotten Robustas. I have one right now. Every bean is perfect. So it may not be the best species of coffee in the world, but you can get some awesome Robusta plants by a really specialty grade coffee grower and use it for what it's good for and add a character you couldn't get any other way with any kind of Arabica coffee. So that Vienna Old World is like that. It's deep, it's chocolatey, it's flavorful. It gives you everything you would expect from that thick, dark roast coffee. Okay? So that's another kind of blend. What have we gone over? 2 different style espresso blends, classic Italian, modern approach, the house blend, the mocha Java blend, the dark roast Vienna Old World blend. All these different ones create their own character, right? And so that's what you want to look for is what kind of flavors do you like together? How deep do you like them? What kind of expressions do you want in the coffee? If you want something that's more complex and unique, and especially you're going to want to do single origin coffees. They really do stand out. The beautiful thing I will say about blends is that it's almost like a circle, right? And when you do a single origin, part of what's special about it is it's not a complete circle. There's certain sections of the circle that are bigger or smaller, like a pie chart. But when you get a good blend, it can be really a nice, smooth, round circle because it's hitting all those different notes, all those different characteristics in every section of the chart, which makes something in there for everyone. I used to do a blend called the Neighborhood Blend. It was on my original menu 6 years ago, and I had people that say, hey, I love this blend because there's something in it for everyone. If I want chocolate, it's in there. If I want the fruit, it's in there. If I want the spice or the nut or whatever, the body, the brightness, it's all in there. And now I do the holiday blend. I do once a year. I've been drinking that for the last couple weeks. Always look forward to it. It takes a lot of work, but it's an amazing blend because what I do is I take all these different coffees from around the world and I roast them all separately. When I roast them all separately, I express them each in the best way for them individually. And then I take certain percentages of them and mix them together to create it's like an orchestra. So a lot of these other blends you'll usually get are going to be coffees mixed before roasting and all roasted uniformly together like a family, like an immediate family kind of thing. Whereas this holiday blend I do is like an orchestra because everything is a different instrument and then all of them are playing together at the same time. So you know what it's like. If you've ever been with a live orchestra, it's very moving, right? But it's also awesome to listen to a power trio band or 3 or 5 person band can be a lot of fun too. So that's basically what blends are. And then single origins is like a soloist playing, right? It's not going to be as full, but it's going to be special. So there you go. There's a little basics on blending. Let me know if you have other blends that you feel like I missed or that are special to you, what kind of blends you like, what you look for, how you choose your coffees, and go ahead and leave comments. I'd love to hear about it. I'm Ted, signing off. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.